Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome back to Let's Learn the Electric Bass with Lyte. And today, we're going to go over the major scale. I know you've been thirsting for scales, and now you're going to get one. We covered enough with rhythm changes, so you should be able to do the... but in B flat. Or B, or A flat, or C, anywhere you need to put it, you should be able to do and so you just can do that sort of thing. You can add some embellishments to it, but one of the things that will help you a lot with knowing what embellishments you can even do, it's the major scale, and eventually arpeggios and some things like that. Major scale is just such an easy place to start, because you just pick whatever notes you like. Let's go with this one. So what note is that? So we've got E, E flat, D, D flat, C. But it could be anything. You might like B better, or B flat, or A. Or, heaven forbid, take it up to the next string. We're going to be doing all of these major scales eventually, so whatever note you like, you just start there. And from there, you're going to take every major and perfect interval and shove it on top of that note. So we take C, and we add a major second. Okay, then we add a major third, C up to E. But that's a pretty far stretch to have to go all the way up there. And the farther down the neck you go, even wider it becomes. So we're probably not going to reach all the way up here to get to E. Instead, we'll reach back here. So our major third is up a string and down a fret. So major second, major third, and then a perfect fourth. So major, major, perfect, and then the perfect fifth. Like the perfect fourth we know is you go up the string, and then the perfect fifth we've done tons of. So it's up a string, up two frets. So we have major second to major third to perfect fourth to perfect fifth, and then we need to find that major sixth. So it's up two strings and down one fret. And when I say down, I mean this way. Because we could go to the fifth and then go up two frets. But just like the major third, it's a bit far away, and the farther down the neck you go, the further it's going to be. So instead of going up here, we go from here to here. So major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, and then our major seventh is two strings and one fret up, this way. And then the octave is nice and easy, two strings, two frets. Like the fifth is one string and two frets, the octave is two strings and two frets. And so, in completion, we have major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, octave. And you can do this as slow as you need to. make sure the intonation is good, to make sure the tone is good, to make sure everything is how you want it to be. Like that last was a little high, so I bring it down. Hear that? So you pay attention to each thing that you're doing, and then you realize, oh, I've only been going up. Let's come back down. And so you just reverse the process from the octave to the major seventh, to the major sixth, to the perfect fifth, to the perfect fourth, to the major third, to the major second, and then the unison. But we also need to take to heart the lessons of the previous episode, because the previous episode wasn't about learning rhythm changes, it was about learning. So if you just do this over and over and over and over again, yes, you'll learn it eventually, but you'll only learn it like this. Even if you learn to speed it up. It's still just that thing. It's still totally even. It's still totally the same. Nothing is changing about it. So you need to put in some intentional changes to help you to use it in other situations. So you can choose different loudnesses for each note. So you could choose different lengths. You can choose different changes of direction. You're still doing the scale. You're still keeping it intentional. But by doing it in a lot of different ways, you help to reinforce it better. But doing it wrong and doing it different are two very different things. Because if you intend to play it, but you actually play it, that's wrong. Whereas if you intend to start quickly and slow down, that's fine, so long as it's what you mean and it's what you do, and that you can do it well. I did not do that particularly well, so I probably shouldn't do that just yet. But one of the tricks that I was taught on saxophone for learning to play something fast and even is to, in fact, do followed by followed by so you do long, short, long, short, long, followed by short, long, short, long, short, followed by long, short, 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 long, short, short, short. Now, granted, on saxophone, I did much longer scales. You get 3 octaves instead of 1. But by doing all of those in a row, you're doing the encoding variability thing. I wasn't taught it as encoding variability, but that's what it was. You were teaching the scale to your brain little by little in various contexts, such that when you needed to go nice and quickly, it was much easier to do. Now, I'm still not very clean with that. It should have nice clean legato, nice even notes, and equal dynamics. That's what I'm aiming for, but it's not quite what I'm getting. But other times you do other things. And then you just take this pattern. So you have your middle finger to your pinky, to your first finger on the next string, middle, pinky, first, ring, pinky. And then you just take that and you move it somewhere else. This is what guitar and bass players like to call taking a shape and moving it somewhere. So you have this shape. And no matter where you put it, it's a major scale. And you just take it around everywhere. And you do more interesting things with it. Because so many things are major scales that you can do all sorts of fun things just within that one octave major scale. You can push it further. You can make it multiple octaves long. We're going to cover that in the future because one seems enough for when you're being introduced to it. And just taking that and moving it around is really good for you. Take it everywhere, move it up, move it down, do it loud, do it soft. All the things. Keep it interesting, because if you just keep practicing, you're not even going to get this very well. Because doing the same thing over and over again without making it actually better leads you to lose focus. And you saw there, my pitch was drifting down a bit. And you never play just a major scale. Up and then back down again. Never in your life will you do that in a tune. And if you do, it's because you're trying to be funny. There are better ways to be funny. So, yes, you do need eventually to be able to go really fast. But that day doesn't have to be today. I can just barely do it that fast, and that's not as fast as I want to go. But you do need to be able to do interesting things with it. Think about things you've heard that use this scale and do those things. So just think about what people do with it and try to do it within that octave and then try doing it somewhere else. Maybe down here. Whoops. You'll notice I tend to avoid being all the way down here because my hands are not very good at stretching that far yet. So doing is still a little uncomfortable for me, and you can see it causes my wrist to do weird things. So I tend not to show it in videos because I'm not very good at it, and I don't want to give you bad habits. But you do what needs to be done, and if you have to shift out of the way to make it work, you have to shift out of the way to make it work. But that's the major scale for you. You just take the note that you like, major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, octave, and back down, octave, major seventh, major sixth, perfect fifth, perfect fourth, major third, major second, unison. Now you might think you could just extend this to make the minor scale, where you just take the unison and then the minor second and the minor third and the perfect fourth and the perfect fifth and the minor sixth and then the minor seventh and the octave. Well, that's not exactly a minor scale. It's really close, though. But it is a scale that you could use. So yeah. It's cool sounding, but it's not a minor scale. But you might as well practice it anyway. Something might have you do this. Any combination of notes like that could be a scale, and it might be one you need, and if it's not one you need, you could be the pioneer of using it. Why? Because, well, there are situations in which this will fit perfectly well. And someday, we'll cover them. And you can be like, oh, we can totally use that everything minor scale. So maybe next time we'll cover some minor scales, maybe next time we'll cover arpeggios, but until then, practice your intervals, practice your scales, and practice that accompaniment. Because those are what will get you going, and you need to get some things under your fingers such that you can get used to doing these sorts of patterns without a lot of tension here in your wrist, or in your arm, in your fingers, in this arm over here. Any lingering tension you need to do away with. And if you feel it creeping in when doing these exercises, feel where it's coming in and reposition accordingly. Because for me, when I get going too fast, my wrist comes down here and it starts cramping up because I'm pushing too hard or squeezing too hard or squeezing at all, really. But you are your own beast. You need to pay attention to what you're doing, what you're feeling. And if you don't know how to fix it, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section. I'll be happy to help in any way I can. So that's all I've got for this episode. I will see you in the next episode of Let's Learn the Electric Bass with Lyte.